there was Luke Smith's message, but then there was also a very strange post on Reddit, which is just quite strange. So someone with just username of numbers, mysterious account, a month before this Final Shape reveal, said, oh, like, Bungie's, I'm just going to leak something. Bungie's working on a new system called Prism that will allow players to mix and match abilities from different subclasses. This is one of the things being worked on during the delay. Imagine throwing a lightning grenade while on Solar, or proccing Devour and rampaging with Stormcaller. So they, and also got the name right, prismatic. This was before anybody could have possibly known that prismatic and this mixing matching subclass existed a month ago. And there's no, you can look into it. There's no kind of fabrication or faking here. Like, this is pretty undeniable. And even in the replies to it at the time, a month ago, people were just like, no one really paid attention, as you would, because there are tons of fake Reddit leaks, and everyone's like, yeah, sure. But then after the reveal, everyone then came back to the post and was like, oh, you were right about that. So this person accurately leaked, not even predicted, leaked that he had spoken to Bungie developers and that he knew about this prismatic subclass. But then in that same post, the second paragraph, he said Destiny 3 was in development under codename Payback. One of the big changes for Destiny 3 is for classes to no longer exist. So Hunter, Titan, Warlock will be gone, and it will just be any character can spec into any ability, since lore-wise there is no reason you couldn't. Hunters learn Blink from Warlock, and Blink isn't tied to a single element, hence the logic there. And then kind of went on to explain that he's not speculating. He said, no, this is not speculation. I actually talked to a couple former Bungie employees who told me about these. The reason I'm saying maybe is because they're no longer their former employees, and therefore they don't have the most up-to-date information. So these would have been employees that would have been laid off or just left or whatever happened. So they don't really have, they're not really too bothered about leaking information to someone, and maybe they're slightly disgruntled and they're just like, we'll just tell my friend about Destiny 3 and the new prismatic subclass. So that was just, again, I want to know your thoughts on this, but I'm open to all discussions, but I don't see any way that you can kind of doubt what he's saying. He accurately predicted Prism, and then also in the same sentence said, also Destiny 3 is coming, Project Payback with no classes. So it seems cut and dry to me. What do you think?
I think there was an interesting question with regards to the name of it, which internally, I want to say the leaker clarified this, but I'm not 100% sure. But Payback was clarified to be a name brought about by the idea of not Bungie trying to get back at anyone in particular, but the idea that they would get a second shot at actually making, the Destiny game that they wanted to make, if that makes sense. Right. The best version of it that would please players, which is, regardless of what it is, Payback, I think, for a few people in the community when they read the leak, basically caused this uproar of being like, who are they getting back at? What's going on here? Is this revenge for all the bad reviews of Lightfall and all that? It's like, no, guys, it's not what it's about. Which, on its own, just on a pure face side of things, being like, hey, publicly they can't talk about anything to do with that. But regardless, that's not the intent. That's nice that that's something that the leaker was able to sort of sit there and address. But also, I think that there is definitely going to be a sizable contingent of people that are looking out for this now based on this alone, because this helps to set expectations, right? Like, if you're already ending a story, ending a saga, doing all that stuff, and people are now being given this new opportunity to jump in with a potential Destiny 3 on the horizon, having that expectation set and ready means people, even subconsciously, are sitting there getting ready to say goodbye to Destiny 2. And not necessarily to the franchise as a whole, but to just the idea of what they currently have and to embrace a new system, Cataclysmic events, narratively speaking, also help to do that. I know I was ready to say goodbye to my D1 vault the moment I knew that Gaul had destroyed the tower. I sat there and I was like, cool, new guns to earn. Yep, this was great fun, but we're going to go ahead and do this. That being said, I think it's also well worth noting that this Reddit post has sort of helped as much as the Luke Smith message has.
Yeah.
which is to sit there and say that, hey, continuity for Destiny still exists. Because I don't know about you, but for the last year, the background chatter has basically been people asking, what is the next expansion? Why are they not talking about it? Why are they not talking about doing a new raid midway through the year? Is Destiny dying? What's going on? What is happening? Can someone please tell me what's going to happen to Destiny? Is Final Shape it? Is Final Shape over? Is Destiny over? Okay, Destiny's over. And that's kind of been the running thing of the conversation. And that conversation needed a reset. And I mean, don't get me wrong, if you looked into the blatant financials of it, Destiny, despite missing revenue projections, still probably makes money. So it's infeasible for Bungie to sit there and stop making the thing. I mean, you know, it led to the valuations that Sony was bringing along with $3 billion on the company. And, you know, that's not based on Lightfall's revenue projections. It's based on when Destiny's at its best during Witch Queen. But regardless, it still brings you to that same conclusion of financially, it makes no sense for them to discontinue Destiny and just call it quits and put all their eggs in the marathon basket, you know? So, like, this was going to happen, but the narrative still persisted. And I think that both this Reddit post and the Luke Smith message have done that thing of resetting that conversation and saying, like, hey, there is an expectation of where players will go next if they call Destiny home, and it's either going to be the episodes and then maybe a transitory thing and then Destiny 3, or it's just going to bump straight towards Destiny 3. And here's the other thing that I think people really sort of forgot about, which was still said in the Luke Smith note, but also, you know, people have been sort of brushing over it. It's again that thing of, we will show you where we're going next after we defeat the Witness. So, like, expect there to be a big announcement sometime during the summer or maybe in Q3. Just, yeah, like, there will be a post or there will be a trailer or there will be an announcement saying that there is another Destiny game coming. And with that, there will be a whole new lease on life for the game.
And I think, selfishly, I really like these kind of leaks because they're not, like, spoiling stuff. They're not kind of ruining what developers are working on. It's just nice to know that there's something happening, just something to look forward to. And I think just from a Bungie perspective, just I would, as a Bungie player, I would, again, selfishly, I would rather know sooner rather than later if there is a Destiny 3 in the works. It doesn't have to be a trailer. It doesn't have to be any talking about what's in it. But I would just kind of, again, selfishly like to know, is there a Destiny 3? Like, I don't really like that that's a mystery because it's just so many players are rightfully so just ready to quit and ready, just kind of, they don't really anticipate a future for Destiny. I think that's kind of something that, again, maybe not everyone agrees, but I don't think that's something that you kind of want people to be thinking that Destiny 2 is going to end. I think that's also why Luke Smith wanted to come on specifically at the beginning of that reveal, just to be like, hey, I've got nothing to say besides this isn't the end of Destiny, so there's more to come. I can't really tell you what, but just there's more to come. But it's just nice to know, even unofficially, that there is something on the way. And I do think, I wouldn't be surprised if after we beat the Witness, you know, the typical final cutscenes that they do, that they just tease at something weird. The same way we first saw the pyramids and we first saw the Witness. I would definitely imagine they've got some really just cool cutscene of some just weird thing happening. I mean, who knows what's even going to happen, whether the universe is going to end or get reset, or the Witness wins or loses, or what happens, what the end state of Destiny is. But there were two. The person that made these Reddit posts did make two more posts since then, just to clarify. And he said, as far as Payback, this is what you were saying, Bife, about seeing some speculation about the name, basically not to read too far into Payback, and set the record straight. Codename Payback does not mean we lose in the final shape or after the 3 episodes. The internal codename for Destiny 3 is not a reference to any story events. Rather, codename Payback refers to Bungie getting payback against themselves by creating something they hope that everyone will love. It's kind of like an internal thing. I don't know if there's any plans for Destiny 2 items to carry into Destiny 3. And then they also said, which is quite interesting, Destiny 3 is Destiny 3. Not a big DLC, not a revamp of Destiny 2, Destiny 3. As far as my most recent info goes, it's a new game in the franchise. I thought that would be obvious. edit, answer some comments. I'm still in contact with some of my sources. I can't share everything, but here's what I can. Project Payback has been in development for at least since Witch Queen, but heavily in the background, less resources than Destiny 2 or Marathon. Last I heard about it was late of last summer, last year, when I learned about the changes to allow any Guardian to use any ability. So everything they're saying does very much sound like legit. Like, they're not talking like, we've seen hundreds of leaks, and when they're trying to kind of say some stuff like, oh, the Veil, and there's a new like there's a new enemy,
2 raids, and each of them will be 12-man
12-man raids. Like, that's
it's done, and
stuff like
whatever.
that. But this sounds like someone that really, I definitely believe this person. Again, I don't see how you can not believe them, because again, they predicted prismatic a month before it existed. So I can't see any logic of how this person isn't telling the truth. And they're not saying anything that's unbelievable. Like, I think